It's time to bring out two more competitors, Marshall, as is customary up here on the main stage. Group D, the only group remaining where players are still battling it out for those final 4 slots. Let's find out who's going to continue their run to get to Saturday, starting with the Magic the Gathering Hall of Famer from the Czech Republic. Let's welcome Martin Juza. Martin Juza is going to be rocking out some Esper Control in Mono Red, one of the 2 ultra-popular formats here. Excuse me, 2 ultra-popular deck lists at this event. Going up against Martin will be from Poland, it's Piotr Glogowski. Loves making intricate combo decks to crush control players near and far. Is going to be running the Mono Red aggro and is the only player in the field today running Mono Blue Tempo. Gentlemen, good luck, have fun, enjoy dodging sparks and smoke on the way to your battle stations to my left. To our commentators, take it away.
Thank you, Day9. And as he mentioned, taking a look at the deck list, which we'll go through now while the players get situated, get a little sip of water in there, get the hair all fixed up, and then get underway. Kind of an interesting lineup here. For Martin Juza, pretty standard issue 1-2 punch of Esper Control with an aggressive deck here from a lot of the MPL level players. This is Juza's Esper Control deck.
Yeah, we've got the
there it is.
1 Ixalan's Binding like we saw in LSV's deck, 2 Masterminds acquisitions. We saw a lot of 1-ofs and 4s, but he's got 2 and a couple Cry the Carnariums in the main.
Yep.
Here's the sideboard things he can search up with the Masterminds acquisition. He does have the Mirari Conjecture combo, so he can keep it going, but I imagine against these aggro decks, he's not going to be looking to do something like that. He's probably going to look for a Sanguine Sacrament, Lyra Dawnbringer, even Ethereal Absolution kind of does work against some of these small creatures in the mono blue deck.
And on the other end of the spectrum here for Martin, he has gone for Mono Red aggro, and you see, once again, a build we're pretty familiar with here in this duo standard environment.
Yeah, and this looks really similar to Luis's version we saw earlier, 19 Mountains, and he opted for the Experimental Frenzy. There are a few versions that don't run it, Skimp on Land, 17, but Experimental Frenzy is a very powerful card, so hopefully we get to see some cool experiments.
Now on the other side of the table here, though, is Piotr Glogowski, and Piotr is the only player.
That's 64.
Right, now this deck, of course, did super well at the first Mythic Invitational, and in fact, taking home the trophy in the hands of Honor Burchett, Mono Blue Tempo. But this is it. This is the 1 copy out of, remember, we've got 64 players, but they could bring double trouble on the decks. 128 possible decks, and 1 ended up being Mono Blue Tempo.
It's pretty strange, right? Because this deck won the Mythic Championship, was really strong, popular deck there, and somehow it just fell off the map. And looking at the matchups, I mean, it doesn't seem to have a really good matchup against Mono Red because you've got cheap creatures, cheap removal, Goblin Chain Whirler. Esper Control has lots of Wrath of God, so it doesn't have a matchup against 2 of the most popular decks in the field. His other deck is Mono Red aggro, again, pretty traditional. He's only running 18 lands and only 3 experimental Frenzies, but he's up copies of other cards such as Light Up the Stage and Skewer the Critics and Wizard's Lightning. But again, it does the same thing all the Mono Red decks do. It looks to get you low with early creatures and finish you off with some burn.
Yeah, Martin Juza, he's in the Magic the Gathering Hall of Fame. He started in 2000. He's been battling at the highest levels for quite a long time. Got in relatively recently into the Hall of Fame just last year. But as you can see, he's played in a total of 51 Mythic Championships. Now on the other side is Piotr Glogowski, much newer to the scene than Juza, but has had a really impressive career in a short period of time.
Yeah, and only 9 Mythic Championships.
He's got top 8 in there as well, so really impressive. Also popular streamer, he goes by Canister.
Yeah, he's sort of a Magic Online legend, right? I think the original version of Magic Online, which is maybe why his arena games are so low. I believe he plays older formats that aren't available on Magic Gathering Arena.
Yeah, he actually has really kind of made a name for himself in Modern as well. He played Lantern Control for you longtime Magic players, you'll know what that is. And then he switched over to Clark Clan Ironworks combo. So he likes the kind of artifact-based old school decks. Yeah, but that's not what we're playing here. 2 very straightforward decks in the hands of Canister. And let's take a look at the opening hands here. Martin Juza on the top. Now, sometimes you got to keep a 1-lander in decks like this, do you not?
Sometimes you do.
Is this the one?
I don't think so. I mean, he is on the draw, so he has 2 shots at finding a second land. If he had a second land, he'd be okay. He could cast 3 out of his 6 cards, and 2 Light Up the Stage with likely trigger. Looks like let's see, he's still deciding. Glogowski's hand, pretty standard. 2 islands, you got an opt, find you more land if you need it. Quench, couple
Yeah.
counter spells, Tempest Gen. This hand's a keep. You just really want to find that third land, but with Opt and a couple draw steps,
Yeah, I
there's
mean,
no way you mulligan
look, the
this.
downside of this hand, though, right, is no one-drop creature. Like, the dream is to get that one-drop down, put the Curious Obsession on, and start beating down, but that's not going to happen here for Piotr. So, mulligan, in fact, for Juza. And you know what?
Much better hand.
I'm not surprised to see that. You know, he's a pretty aggressive mulliganer. You'll find a lot of different variants, even among the highest level pros, about, would you keep this hand? No, absolutely not. Easy mulligan, and you'll find a Hall of Famer that'll say easy keep, never mulligan that. It would be a big mistake. So Martin tends to veer on the side of a mulliganing more aggressively.
And a 6-card hand is pretty solid, and he kept it Get-To Lava Runner on top. Excuse me.
And, you know, if this game goes on for a little while, that 6-card hand could turn into a 20-card hand thanks to Experimental Frenzy. We've seen that thing just go off.
Looks like the Lava Runner he put on the bottom. Drew the Skewer the Critics.
Okay.
Didn't want a 1-2 on the draw, which I don't blame him.
Again, this draw from Canister, fine. He's doing things in the early stages, but, you know, the dream, right, is to get that 1-mana creature down and then protect it.
As you saw, he put the Siren Storm Tamer on the bottom of the deck.
Yeah.
He really wants to find a third land so we can deploy this Tempest Gen.
Yeah, this hand is playing out much differently than that, and he wants to play protect the Djinn here.
Well, Tempest Gen is so important, too, because that has 4 toughness, and so many of the burn spells have do 3 or 2 damage that it's going to take 2 cards to get rid of a 4 toughness creature. By the time he's able to do that, Canister might be able to have Wizard's Retort up and protect it.
Yeah, and in an attempt to shore up perhaps the mirror and the mono-white matchup, these red decks have largely gone away from Lava Coil, which is kind of the easiest answer to a card like Tempest Djinn.
So he's going to find the 3rd mana with the Opt. He wasn't able to opt into turn because he had to cast the Quench to stop the Viashino Pyromancer. Spamming some Your Go.
Nice, your go, he says. Piotr's really funny. He has a very dry sense of humor if you've ever watched his stream, but he's really funny.
Yeah, these
Look,
guys,
now he's just pestering him.
These guys are friends. They're both in the NPL. They're both very top European Magic players, see each other on the Grand Prix circuit a lot.
Well, they were friends. I don't maybe after this, Martin might be rethinking it. He's getting heckled by his fellow MPL member here. Light up the stage is going to be met with a negate, both mana efficient, and there might not be other targets for it. He figures that Spell Pierce will get something later.
Wow, the 4th mana here is huge because not only can he play Tempest Gem, but he gets to hold up Spell Pierce, which protects it from a double spell, but it also is going to happen to deal with this Experimental Frenzy if Martin goes that route instead, which I think we're likely going to see because if you were to say want to go Shock and Skewer the Critics for 4 mana, you could easily have a Dive Down, and now you've gotten 2 for 1. So Dive Down or Spell Pierce stops the double spell play, whereas Experimental Frenzy is only stopped by Spell Pierce, and if it is, it's a 1 for 1. So I think he's going to go for Experimental Frenzy here as to not get blown out.
It is the less risky play.
Looks like he's going to take a risk.
Oh, he's going for Skewer the Critics. So this one's easy because Piotr can say, sure.
The reason he Spell Pierces this is because if Martin Juza has the Fanatical Firebrand, you won't be able to Spell Pierce that, and he can finish it off. So excellent excellent choice by Juza to cast the Skewer the Critics first.
Yeah, and that does, of course, avoid the 2 for 1 there. But another Spell Pierce off the top of the library plus a pair of Wizard's Retorts means, we talked about it a second ago, protect the Djinn, right? Now he's got this 4-4. It's only going to get bigger as the course of the game goes, and all he needs to do is maintain this clock. At 20 life, Juza's going to have a really hard time racing from this point.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough spot to get out of. Juza wisely doesn't walk his Frenzy into the Spell Pierce. Canister deciding if this is worth casting Wizard's Retort on. Probably not. You are at 20 and it's just a 2-1. But then again, you don't want to end up dying with a bunch of Wizard's Retorts in your hand, so sometimes it's good against these matchups to go ahead and just cast them. I don't think we're going to see a counterspell here.
He's really thinking about it here, though, is Piotr, because like you said, only a few cards actually matter, but one of the only ways he can realistically lose is if he does find a way to kill that Djinn at some point, and then all of a sudden he's taken, 6-8 incidental damage, and all of a sudden he's behind an Experimental Frenzy or something along those lines. But that's not the case here. He's going to fire off the counter, keep his life total at 20, keep the board clear. There's an island off the top, which is going to make that Djinn 5-4 rather than 4-4. And bang, in it comes. If he can find an island next turn, it'll be 2 quick turns, and we'll be done here in game number 1.
Island will shorten the clock. Juza really needs to find business. Unfortunately, these 2 counterspells are pretty rough for him. Frenzy just happens to fall in line with Spell Pierce with only 5 mana.
Yeah, this deck that Piotr's running, exceptionally good at protecting individual threats. And once again, Martin Juza going to fire off the Skewer the Critics. Do you think that Piotr at this point says, look, if you have the Firebrand, you would have used it at some point, so I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, I don't think he's worried about that.
Yeah, and he says, if you got another shot, go for it, but he doesn't. And look at this. This Tempest Chin's going to crack in. That's going to put Martin down just to 6 life. Again, an island off the top of the library would end things next turn.
And that's going to be the game.
Glogowski's favor, but either way, he's looking good with that Merfolk Trickster.
Yeah, Trickster has flash. He can cast that end of turn. He's got enough mana to also pay Wizard's Retort if he wants to protect it, but he's not going to need to, as Martin Juza has no more cards in hand. 2 damage from the Trickster plus 5 from the Jin is 7.
We're done.
That's all she wrote.
That's going to be it. Piotr Glogowski is going to pick up game number 1 here. He shows him the Merfolk Trickster, and then he counters it with Wizard's Retort, putting up 7. Cancel that. Make it 8 damage, cracking into the red zone, and that's going to do it.
I'm really
Piotr
surprised.
Glogowski picks up game number 1.
We didn't get a little BM good game when the Experimental Frenzy went on the stack.
Looks like he has a limit after all for Glogowski. So that's game number 1. Now, the way that we play Duo Standard, if you're just joining us, is the players had those decks picked for them at random. So they had no idea what they were going to play when they sat down in game 1. It was going to be their A or their B deck, but they didn't know. Now they're going to play the other deck. So we know what they're going to be playing, which means Glogowski's going to be on mono red aggro, and it's going to be Esper control for Martin.
Yeah, and Martin gets to go first this game, which is good for him. It's going to set him up where he doesn't fall too far behind. He's actually pretty well set up for this matchup. 2 Cry of the Carnarium, 2 Cast Down, 2 Moment of Craving is his early removal. He's got full 4 Absorbs and 4 Thought Erasures to get some burn out of his opponent's hand. I expect this one to go a little bit better for Martin Juza here.
Yeah, you see that most of these Esper lists have been skewed towards beating mono white and mono red, and then they'll have some silver bullets, some really good like one-ofs against the mirror. All right, we've got opening hands here, and we are right back into it. How does this opening hand look here for Juza? Cancel that, he mulliganed it.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It had 4 4-drops and 2 lands, which is really where you don't want to be against a red deck. Now this hand's a little better. I mean, the lands don't come into play tapped. You have no blue, but you don't have any blue cards.
But they do come into play tapped, don't they?
That's what I'm saying. But you don't have any lands to help your lands come into play untapped.
Yeah. What? Double removal spell, sweeper?
Yeah, they're going to be a turn off, and you're going to be using 2 mana to probably kill 1-drop creatures, maybe. I mean, you do have Ixalan's Binding and Kaya's Wrath. I think you have to keep this one at 6. Scry to the bottom. Hope you hit, Hollowed Fountain. It's kind of the dream here.
Now, what about for Glogowski? How are things looking for him with the Gitu Lava Runner to kick things off?
Yeah, I mean, his hand is great. He's got a 1-drop. It turns on the Wizard Lightning.
Oh, jeez,
Now
the
he
perfect
gets to curve
draw.
it into 2-drop.
Runaway Steamkin off the top of the library.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Juza, he did find a land. That was a good part, but it was another tap land, a Glacial Fortress for him there.
It's actually okay, though, because next turn he can play a Chapel Tap, so he'll still have 2 mana up to cast the Cast Down if he needs to. Take care of this Runaway Steamkin. I imagine he doesn't leave that one on the board.
These players are playing for their tournament life, though the winner will not necessarily get out of this group. They still need to win another match after this.
The fact that he hasn't drawn a land with a basic land type, I think he's likely going to play these cast downs. Like right here, if he drew Hollowed Fountain, he might not, because then he would be able to play the Chapel untapped and cast Kaya's Wrath and get a 2 or 3 for 1. But the fact that his next land likely comes into play tapped, I think he's going to end up casting one of these cast downs.
Is it time to just kill the Steamkin here this turn if it gets up to that last counter?
I believe so right here, probably in response to this.
He's going to let him resolve that one. Nope.
He can wait and let the trigger go on the stack. The key part is the 3rd counter on Runaway Steamkin. You just don't want that to get there, because then he can remove it for 3 red mana and cast another spell.
Well, Glogowski's got a Wizard's Lightning here, and Martin just shakes his head and says, maybe I should have done that one turn or one event prior here, because that is going to give 3 mana for Glogowski, and this has really gotten out of control from Juza's perspective, because he's going to use that mana to get Goblin Chainwhirler on the battlefield right now, David.
Yeah, ooh, Godless Shrine is a good draw here. Unfortunately, he's going to have to go to 6 if he wants to cast Kaya's Wrath.
And he does, right? I mean,
I think he does. I mean, he wants to save the Ixalan's Binding in case there's an Experimental Frenzy coming, because you could argue he could just instead cast Down and play his land tapped, cast down the Chainwhirler. He's taking 2 from the Lava Runner, which is the same as from the land, but I think you want to save that. But he's already—
by the way, Piotr with the Your Go again.
He's already down to 5.
Just aggressive. Yeah, down to 5 here, and this could be Martin Juza's tournament slipping away from him. He's going to Kaya's Wrath just to get rid of a Fanatical Firebrand, but things may be looking up for him. There's land number 4, and this is actually what Juza wanted to happen because he has the answer for this Frenzy.
Yeah, and he played the 4-mana answer so that if in future turns he could be more mana efficient by using Cast Down plus another spell, since he needed to cast 1 to get rid of 1 creature, and it's unlikely there's going to be multiple on the board at any point from this point forward, or he'd just be dead.
Viashino Pyromancer was on top of the library there for Glogowski. He's going to play it and pass the turn, but he has nothing else going on. That said, uses it 3 life.
Yeah, Juza's going to have to play Search, cast down the Pyromancer, hope Canister draws lands for maybe 1 or 2 turns, and he can find Mastermind's Acquisition, go get Sanguine Sacrament, get his life total back up, or even Lyra Diamond.
But Lightning Strike off the top, Skewer the Critics off the top. Chain Whirler doesn't quite kill him, but it puts him in much closer range and gives him a lethal threat on the battlefield. Pass the turn back to Martin, and he needs to find answers, and he needs to find them quickly, or he is going to be out of the tournament. He finds Chemister's he binned the Chemister's Insight, and he found a land. Don't do it, Canister. Don't do it.
Give him a nice.
He's waiting for it.
I want to see a premature GG. Just give him a good game.
You're a monster. You know that?
We haven't had enough bad manners in this tournament. We need more BM. We need to really represent the internet. Let the viewers know what it's like in real life.
Okay, here it is. Chemister's Insight, and it's Thought Erasure and an Absorb that he can't cast, and that means that Piotr Glogowski is going to advance to that last trial here. He's got 1 more match to win to make it all the way through. And Martin Juza, his tournament's going to end right here and right now. So a great run for Martin, but unfortunately for him, it does end. And you can see the disappointment on his face. Never fun to get kicked out of a tournament here, especially because he got so close.
Yeah, and he probably feels like he didn't really even play those games. He just got, romped pretty quickly in both games. So it's a little deflating.
It is. In the meantime, Piotr Glogowski, he says, well, 1 more to go, and then he's going to be in and through. So really good stuff there. The mono blue deck won on camera. He's the only one running it out in the field. He managed to piece together a win there, so maybe it's okay.
Maybe he was ahead of the curve.
Yeah. I don't know, but maybe not. But all right, well, right now, though, down in the feature match area, we got Becca Scott with our winner, Piotr Glogowski.
Hi, guys. I'm here with Piotr, as you said. Piotr, congratulations on your win. How you feeling?
It's fine.
All right, you express yourself so much in the emotes in-game, and you can't give me a little excitement?
That's how I roll. But
A little bit. All right, now you chose to bring a mono blue tempo deck. That's the first one we've seen here, the only one I've seen so far. That was a very unique choice. Are you surprised that more people didn't bring that, or did you know that that would be more rare?
I didn't expect to be the only person that brought this deck to the tournament. I didn't expect too much of it. I had decent results with it in testing, and it does some things that I like to do, and can beat up on some matchups that are kind of popular, but not entirely sure if that was a great call for a tournament or not. But so far it serves me well.
Yeah, it seems to be going well. Now, what was it like to beat Juza, who is a Hall of Famer?
Well, I hope there'll be a Hall of Famer at some point too. I guess it's not actually going to be a thing anymore, maybe. But
I love it, Piotr. I love your attitude. Let's check back in with Marshall and David over at the caster's desk.
Thank you, Becca. And we have, by the way, just enough time here to jump back in on our other match. That's right, where we have Teruya Kakame. He's playing against Anime. Yeah, and they are in game number 3. So let's get into it because this one could be over quickly. Who knows? Oh, and look at this Lightning Strike upstairs with Anime going down to 3. Is there another one?
Yeah, there's another one.
And another Lightning Strike in response. We were here just in time to see Teruya Kakame win and knock Anime out of the tournament. A great victory there for Teruya. And boy, we got there just in the nick of time, didn't we, David?
Yeah, something interesting about Teruya Kakame. He was one of our top 8 arena qualifiers in the Mythic standings. Pretty talented player. I've played him on the Pro Tour before.
He's really good.
Really good. He posted a photo, I believe, last week on Twitter. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. he was #1 in Mythic, #1 Mythic Limited and Constructed at the exact same time.
What?
He posted a photo of his profile on Magic the Gathering Arena.
You mean he wasn't just Mythic in both, he was ranked
Double
#1?
ones, #1 in both.
We should get him a jersey with 11 on the back.
I don't
That
know-
is insane.
I know he didn't hold it because Javier Dominguez posted a photo as #1 a few hours later, but getting to both simultaneously is pretty incredible.
That is
so
absurd.
That was awesome.
Yeah, Teruya Kakame, he is no joke. Plays on the Pro Tour for a long time, part of one of the best Team Series teams there as well. So really impressive stuff from him. But again, we mentioned it before, but both for Teruya and for Piotr, they're not through yet. That is not the winning in to get out of the pod. They still need to go
one
with
more.
one more match. Yeah, which of course we will be bringing you next round as well. So, well, looks like we might even get a word here with Teruya Kakame as well. We've got our interpreter on the stage too, so hopefully we'll get a chance to hear from Becca in just a minute. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming along for coverage of the Mythic Invitational, powered by Omen, by HP. That's David Williams, I'm Marshall Sutcliffe, and we are on the floor of PAX East here in Boston, Massachusetts. It's quite a scene here. We've got a lot of players, Magic players and Magic fans watching around the edges, and it's only going to get crazier tomorrow, Saturday, when everybody has the day off, of course, to come here and enjoy PAX, all of the gaming activities that you have. But for us, we're here, right? We've got the roped off little area, and we're over here. We're concentrating on MTG Arena, playing Magic, and we're glad you're joining us. Right now, though, Becca's over there with Teruya.